Recording started.
Maybe you should mute.
And I'm going to mute. Oh, I'm going to mute everybody.
No, not Johan.
Oh, not Johan.
You can try. Um, I believe in music. Music is an indispensable part of my life. I'm so attracted by music as a holistic project, and I'm interested in all its facets. Music is physics and at the same time an ancient art with a long and interesting history. Music to me is a universal language and has a very powerful effect. It can make me happy and healthy, bring me into balance, and makes me a better person. Music always finds a direct way into my heart. An old German saying goes, where people sing, you can settle down. Evil people have no songs. I totally agree. I have this special idea of music as an old tree with a strong trunk and countless branches in its giant crown growing towards the sky and the light. The roots of the tree grow in the soil of the sounds of nature, the sounds of the waves, the wind rustling the grass, the rain falling, the rumble of thunder or earthquakes, and the crackling of fire, the sounds of animals, bird songs, the roar of wild beasts, and all the other sounds that even our earliest ancestors, the cavemen, perceived threatening or pleasant. The meaning of cave painting has been much discussed in science. The scientists agree that Stone Age people try to contact the invisible world of nature spirits, gods, or their deceased. I think this is a very early form of religion. I am able to see these fabulous paintings deep down in the caves today, but unfortunately, I can't hear the music of that time. But I have a very fascinating archaeological testimony that music was part of Stone Age culture too. And I show this to you. You can see this. This special find is a 35,000 to 40,000 year old flute found in a cave in southern Germany. It is said to be the oldest musical instrument in the world, made from a hollow swan bone. If I could travel back in time, I would stop at the moment when our ancestor found this piece of bone, playing around with it, blowing through the bone, and finally producing a whistle sound. It must have been a sensational moment. My Stone Age friend shortly after found out that covering or uncovering a hole in the bone produces different tones. In my imagination, the beginning of melody. The tree of music was planted at the moment when people started to use their voices and instruments to do music for joyful and sad moments, music for celebration, and music to connect to the spirit. My father was a huntsman, and he had a group of hunting horn players. The signals they play indicate certain moments during the hunt and can be heard over long distances, useful 40 years ago and still now. And where am I? This music was my first approach to brass music. Hunting horns are very simple instruments. It's a long coil tube with a funnel at the end. They have no valves, and so they are reduced to a certain number of tones. You start vibrating a column of air inside the tube with your breath. The first tone you hear is the fundamental frequency. If you blow with more intensity, the instrument will show a series of ascending tones. These tones are limited to integer multiples of the lowest frequency, and such multiples form the harmonic series, also known as overtones. The harmonic series is based on a nature law and can be produced on any tubular form: buffalo horn, large C slugs, garden hose, organ pipe, or a hollow swan bone. My point is, I follow this physical law when I play my instrument. It's always about proportions everywhere. The horn that I play now is much more advanced than my father's hunting horn, and I play a completely different, let's say, transformed music than hunting signals. I started playing in a Lutheran brass choir when I was a boy. Lutheran brass choirs are a special feature or a special tradition in the Protestant church in northern Germany. Our special culture has been part of the UNESCO Intangible World Cultural Heritage since 2015. I'm a little proud to be part of that. My older siblings all played there too. I had a lot of fun with them when we played on Sundays for church services. I didn't really understand what was being talked in church. During the sermon, I used to count the church windows. But when the organ started, I felt the vibrating sound everywhere, and a new world opened up to me. At the latest then, it was clear to me that this is what I want to be able to do one day: to make music, to play an instrument, and to become an instrument myself, to bring joy to other people and to be one with myself. I always want that to be part of my life. Later in my childhood, some people noticed that I had a beautiful voice and I could remember melodies very quickly. I had a lot of joy when I sang, and I still have today. Singing became my safe place. I owe so much to singing that became a source of growth for me. It gives me confidence, posture, and the ability to create sounds and to create a choral sound with others collectively. This is for me a lighthouse example of what people can achieve together. The mighty trunk of the music tree bears many strong branches that branch out more and more. Each small branch is a unique piece of music. Every culture, every continent is represented. I believe today's music has grown out of the music of earlier eras, and there will be a continuous flow and a connection of musical energy through the history of mankind. If I could choose my place in this tree of music, I would like to be a leaf that absorbs the tree's chi energy in spring, gathers life energy in summer and fall, and returns it to the tree in the winter to continue growing.
That
It
was
was so beautiful.
Just wow.
was absolutely incredible essay, Jochen. You included history and nature and I can just see all of the threads from the Stone Age, the swan bone flute
Mm,
to to your dad, being out in the hunting and then becoming to your brass, you
mm,
instrument and the tree. What a beautiful
mm,
analogy. Oh my gosh, what a gorgeous essay.
mm,
It's
Oh.
filled with
mm,
wonderful layers. And your English was
mm.
great.
I was so excited. I have to tell you,
Wow.
I was very excited. This was my first essay since I was in school, and
Oh,
I had no editor for this. I did it all on my own. And like Barbara said, I think I cut out more than half of it and reduced it to this. I have a lot of more pages written, but I thought I have to shorten it to make it more easy and not to bother you.
oh,
Oh no.
oh, wow. Oh,
Oh, wunderbar.
oh God, oh my God, that is just so exquisite. Your writing is just absolutely beautiful, beautiful. Put it all back in. Just put it all back
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
If it's like that, the short version, put it all back in.
Yes.
Oh my
Yep.
God, that was just so exquisite. Yes, the history that you gave us, the analogies that you use, or your connection to nature is just so wonderful, exquisite, amazing. It's like heart opening. You are your music. You are it. It is you. And yeah, all over the world there is music. All cultures of the world they have their music and dance. Absolutely. But I'm just so wrapped up in this essay. It's just so incredible. Just put it all back in, please. And then read it to us again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Wunderbar, wunderbar.
Danke, Rita.
wunderbar. Wunderbar. Yes.
What a wonderful story too. The way you told it, it was enveloping. You really did take us from place to place throughout the story. And it was so heartfelt. It was so beautiful. I was just right there in church with you. And when you said, like, you didn't listen to the sermon, you looked at the window. It's like, yeah, that was me. I so remember that. And only the music was interesting. It was just incredibly well done. You're such a gifted writer. And to think that English isn't even your first language
How about
is
that?
mind blowing. Mind blowing. It's just, thank you for this beautiful gift. Thank you.
I'll say something. Oh,
Go ahead, Lee.
okay. Yeah, exactly my feelings, like Dee and Barbara. And that was so gorgeous. But what's so fascinating is that you're writing about music and to give us these visuals. It's like you're giving a visual of music, which I guess music, that is part of music, right? It creates imagery for us. But yes, that whole history and stunning. I just loved even your, bringing in how, your father and the hunting horn was what the initial spark, and then sitting in the church and just that vibration. And I just loved how you became the instrument too, right? You became the instrument of sharing music. And I so believe that music has healed you in so many ways, and that your spirit wants to heal others with your music. So oh my gosh, I know I could just go on and on as well, but I just wanted to say that because it was just, I know, like I could just keep listening, where's the long version? But one other thing that triggered my mind when you were speaking earlier about all the different sounds that, sort of create music in our world. I had the experience, and I mentioned this once on Bells, seeing a performance at Governor's Island here in New York. last summer of this group that it was a composition of music that was mimicking birds from dusk to dawn. I don't know, some of you may be, where, you know, all the different types of instruments and people were in this park area surrounding us and moving in. And it was just like a 20-minute performance of from like what sounds happen when the sun starts rising, but it was like bird sounds created by musical instruments. So I love that. Just made me think that was one of my most favorite experiences I've ever had. So what you express is really what music does for us, you know. It can be nature, but nature can be music too.
Oh, but
Thank you.
If I can add,
love
music is healing. Music is healing, and scientists are now looking at all of that. That's sound healing, and with a specific sound vibration played for the body, like a didgeridoo, there's healing that happens.
Or gongs, or glass
Yeah,
bowls, yeah.
Yeah. And when Jochen sings, it's like, it's the music of the spheres. It's just, okay. Next.
Thank you.
I'll go. So Jochen, every time I see you or think of you, all I feel is this vibration of music. And you really express to us how music is the vibration of communication. How, and I love the history of, you know, that first flute, you know, that was used, and how people use sound to communicate. The hunters, you know, it was very different than what might be a complex aria. However, it's still communication. And what I learned about sound healing was how the vibrations are so powerful, whether it's two sticks, some brass, or a voice. And when you combine a voice and music and the different sounds, it's very powerful. I call that energetic vitamin C. You don't have to know what you need. You don't have to know where it has to go. Your body will just absorb exactly the frequency that it requires based on the whole big selection that's offered. So I love your metaphor, how you're a tree, you know, on the tree of music, you're a leaf. Well, you're a bloom. You're every bloom of the tree, because you just exude this beautiful vibration of music. And as you're sharing, I'm realizing how I see people, how I connect with people, that it's not on a level of like human words. It's more of, I see each of you with your own beautiful energy of who you are and what you bring. And, you know, thank you for bringing your gift of music, as you're always sharing and teaching us something new or another way to hear or see something, so we can see your music as well as hear it and feel it. So thank you so much for your beautiful story. Thank you.
Mary Beth, I think you were going to say something.
I was just going to say, it was so moving. And I really, wow, I hope you submit that somewhere. Because even as you were reading it, I started noticing all the sounds, and the dog started like barking, trying to get like attention, like put us in your music, or the refrigerator is making a lot of noise and things. So to Lois's point, that it's just so, it's very healing, and your story was so incredible. And I'm glad that it was recorded, because I thought, when I go to the hospital so much, and I'm there, you know, so much by myself and waiting for tests and shoved into this machine or in this emergency room, and it's loud. So I thought, oh, well, if I had your story to listen to, it would make me feel more comforted. And I could listen to the beeping sounds and the people yelling, you know, more music. And especially your season about I don't know, it was just wonderful. Everybody said everything. Thank you.
I think Nancy.
Well, I was just going to say that Jochen started out by saying he was going to read because English was not his first language. And judging from what I've seen, people that are musical generally speak a second language. And that second language becomes a beautiful song in itself. The way you carefully phrase words, the way you don't drop syllables, the way you look to find a precise word to express something. I see it when Reverend Barbara chants in some of the languages that I don't even know what languages they are. When Letitia speaks French, it's like beautiful music to people who it's the second language, because it's more precise, it's more measured, it's well thought out. You used one word, we would say represent, you pronounce it as represent. And that's more precise, because when you're standing there to represent a club or a family, you're representing an idea, you're representing it for others, for other people. So even though it wasn't the pronunciation you would have a native language speak it, it was more accurate. It was more accurate. So yeah, the whole story was beautiful, and I especially liked hearing it in with your accent, if you will. I know people say I have a New York accent. but yeah, it becomes a music when people speak more than one language, no matter whether you can understand what they're saying, whether you miss a few words, it becomes a beautiful music to hear that language spoken by a non-native speaker. So it was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I totally agree, and I almost felt like it was easier in some aspects to listen to you with your essay of where you put pauses in, and it was nice to have that pause. It was easier for me to listen to and to keep up with, because sometimes we, with our own language, we read so fast and you can't even, and you don't even hear everything. So I really enjoyed the pauses and where you put inflection or the words you use. I was really touched. I love how you said it's a universal language. And I think in the bells, we talked about that before. I think one Christmas, we were talking about how there's one song, but it's played and translated in so many different languages that everyone doesn't have to speak, but they would hear that music and all be on the same page, or all know what it was saying. And I also really loved how I wasn't expecting, and loved how you compared it to nature and compared it to a big oak tree, and how the oak tree would get the light, and then you talked about the roots, and you talked about how you were the leaf, but that it was so humbling that you were one leaf and wanted to be with all the other leaves, because that's what created a chorus or a choir, or the love that we're all one, of having all the leaves. That's what really makes up the whole picture of. I love that. And I love how you did put in the pictures and the science and the learning about the first. I didn't know that about the first, I mean, maybe, but about the bone and the flute. And then with you put in some of your personal life. And with Dee, like in the church, I was the same way. I hated going to church. I thought it was so boring, and I would count things as well. So I really related to that. And I loved how you said it was just in the tree of music, and the way you put certain sentences or phrases of relating it. Oh, and that you were an instrument. And we don't think of ourselves as being instruments sometimes. We think of an instrument being something that we can hold or do something with. But I loved how you said, I am an instrument. Beautiful. Loved it. Thank you.
Well, I can say something to the instrument. All the good teachers say that every instrument you play is an extension of your body. So the horn I play is just an extension of the breath and my vibration that comes from me. So you have to play with full body.
Right, right.
Leticia.
I agree with what everyone said. Jochen, that was really beautiful. That was really interesting. It was complete. It was like a full circle, you know, from 35,000 years ago to now. And it's in music is in nature, music is in the breath, music is in the wind. It's everywhere. And I love that because we sometimes take it for granted, but you have reminded us that it's everywhere. So we just need to be in tuned and to be receptive to all this music that is around, whether it's birds, you know, wind rustling in the leaves, or you know, in the forest. I find that extraordinary. And I really loved how you said it, music brings you into balance. I love that. And when you said it, singing brings you confidence and posture. And I think the way we present ourselves in our posture, that in itself is musical. It can be harmonious or less harmonious, or sometimes not at all. And I really love that. Thank you so much for this beautiful essay, and also for um, teaching us things. I had no idea that the first flute was from a swan bone, and it, you know, and I loved the way you explained or said how you would have loved to be there, or imagine, you know, how the first person, maybe a child, came to, you know, blow in the bone and figure out it made sounds. And I love that you even brought in the UNESCO Cultural World Heritage. That is something that brings another dimension to what you are surrounded with. So thank you very much. I loved it.
And Miss Linda.
Good morning, everyone. Jochen, that was beautiful. It was so powerful, so beautiful. I say everything that everyone has said. I love the part about the analogy of the tree with music and the roots. And I could see that in the birds and just everything. I saw everything, very visualizing. It was beautiful. Thank you so much. Love you. You
Thank
you are
Linda.
music. You are music. Music is you.
We all are music.
And Miss Rita, you want to add anything more besides the wunderbar?
Everyone has said how wonderful it was, and wunderbar. It was just great to. I agree with everyone that it was wonderful that you brought in the history of how animal bones and how nature is part of it. I just came from my walk, and it was wonderful going out in nature and listening to the birds. And you know, now that it's fall, the geese are flying overhead, and you can hear them all the time. So it's just thank you so much for sharing your wonderful insights. It was a blessing, and I just love hearing the whole story of what you were sharing. It just made my heart beat.
Oh, thank you, Linda. Thank you, Rita. Sorry.
Oh.
When I was talking, I realized I couldn't even remember. How did you compare the oak tree, like with the top and the roots, to the music? I can't think of how it was. I love that sentence or what you said about it.
Yeah, my idea is that the music is that people try to imitate nature. That the nature sounds they were there, and then people try to, maybe with this flute, try to imitate a bird. So, but this is the moment for me when music was planted. A new tree was planted, and then since then it's growing and growing and getting bigger and taller, and it's growing towards the sky and the light.
Thank you. Very well said.
Well, I am truly, truly touched. It is so heartfelt. You've inspired me. Actually, this morning when I got up, I said, oh, I just feel so uninspired. But you have like sparked this inspiration. And I'm just so, so grateful for your essay to be with all of us, the family of the bells. Talk about, for me, the Zoom, this is our tree of life, and you're sharing with all of us, and we're all the leaves, and we're in harmony, and we're all different instruments of who we are. And I'm just like, I don't know, it's just so deep for me. It's just so deep. And anyway.
I'm very grateful that I got the chance to think about, because I think you told us 1 year ago, this I believe we are reading, that you can all write your own essay. And I wrote down a few, then a year ago, I wrote down a few themes, but then I left it somewhere in the back. But now it took me the summer. I think I began in my holidays and thought what I could, and I'm really grateful that you give me the chance, or all the others who have written an essay, to present this in a very safe place. I always knew, well, I was very excited, but I always knew I wouldn't have to justify myself for something. That's and so I could order my thoughts really without being afraid to do something wrong or something like that. I edited a few times over and over, but then at a certain moment I thought, now it's done and it will be good. And I'm so grateful that you all liked it, and that the opposite would be that you all would tell me, we didn't understand anything. So this is my biggest angst, but it didn't appear, for God's sake.
Well, if you were in our school, you got an A+. We'll put a star on your forehead at the same time.
Oh, no.
It was absolutely.
And there's definitely a few of us bells that would say, Jochen, I'm so sorry, but I didn't understand a word.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was great.
It was absolutely, I mean, this to me was a transcendental experience. That's how I would like to describe, it was absolutely, it was transcendental, it was translucent, it was light, it was, it was deep, it was, it had all these different layers. And I love how you interweaved history and a piece of your life, and, and who we are. And this is, this is humanity,
And I have some bonus material for you. When I sing the Om Mani Padme Om, I use this harmonic series that I was talking about, because if you have the second, third, and fourth overtone are exactly the tones that I sing at the end.
Well, actually, you inspired me in my singing lessons from the Om Mani Padme Hums. And so it's like, I'm listening to these tones and the overtones and all of that. It's just so, so beautiful. So beautiful. Anyway. Whew. So, any other comments or thoughts before we go into a beautiful meditation together? Linda.
Story, Jochen, reminded me of the movie August Rush. It's a beautiful movie about a loving couple that had a one night stand, and then they actually created this young man who was a genius as far as music. And his mission was to find his mother and father and bring everything together. And throughout the whole movie, there's always sounds of the train, the beating, the walking. Everything is a rhythm, and that's what reminded me of that. That everything has a rhythm. Everything has a like the world is an instrument in itself. So thank you.
Can I add something really quickly to that?
Oh, please.
Thank you, because I was thinking about it. There's a movie called Tap with Gregory Hines, and I just so adore this movie. And it opens with him in a prison cell, and he's going out of his mind because all he can hear is like the other prisoners shouting and things clanging, and you know, he's just really having a hard time with it. And having grown up as a dancer with his dad in the movie, in real life, but in the movie as well, these were his dad's words come to him, and his father says, "Listen for the rhythm." And he starts just like listening and listening, and he starts to hear like this, like something dripping in his cell, like this dripping, and he starts to like get into the rhythm of the dripping of the water, and the next thing you know, he stands up and he starts dancing. And it's so beautiful and so moving. And I've really thought of that so many times in my life, you know, when I thought I'm losing my mind, or I can't bear the sound in here, or the lack of sound in here. You know, if you just, honestly, I listen for the rhythm. And I always tell myself that. It's just so true. It's just so who we are as human beings. You know, it's beautiful. So, you know, thanks, Linda, for giving me that opening to share my tap story. But again, yeah. It's who we are.
I have to go. I won't be able to stay for the meditation because we've arrived. And but thank you, Jochen, very much. And have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Thank you, RD. Love you all. Take care.
Have a beautiful
Love you, Leticia.
Yeah.
I have to go too. Thank you so much, Johan. What a wonderful gift. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Johan, are you doing the meditation today? I'll take that as a
Well, at least maybe could you do the harmonics at the end of the meditation?
Of course. Of course.
Oh my
I could see
gosh.
you doing a very nice meditation.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
No pressure.
No pressure. Oh my gosh, this is absolutely beautiful. So let's take some time and be in nature and be with music. How about that?
With the big oak tree.
For the big oak tree. Oh, you can add that to our visualization. So let's just relax and just breathe. Imagine that we're all gathered together, maybe in the forest of the sequoia trees, and listen to the leaves and the birds. Listen to the wind. Breathe. Relax. Relax. Relax your entire being. And just imagine that each of us is one of these beautiful oak trees. And our roots are all intertwined together. And also imagine our branches are just open to the sky, welcoming the chi of the sun, the moon, the stars, the birds, and our branches are just all also interconnecting with each other, touching, feeling. Welcome the light along the central branch, through the trunk, into the roots, heaven, humanity, and earth. And let's just be. Let's just be and listen to the choir of nature. Breathe gently in and out. We're feeling so rooted, centered. Our beautiful grove of oak trees. Listen to the birds, the fog, the rain, and the sun coming through the clouds, and feel the warmth. Welcome, welcome the blessings of nature and her music. Just be, breathe, listen. So let's all gently, gently gather together our stand of oak trees in a circle by the edge of the lake. Listen to the geese fly overhead, the blue skies, the clouds rolling by, and just open our hearts, open our chi, and welcome the blessings of harmony, the sounds of nature, and just listen.
Om Mani Padme Om, Om Mani Padme Om, Om Mani Padme Om. Om Mani Padme Om, Om Mani Padme Om, Om Mani Padme Om. Om Mani Padme Om, Om Mani Padme Om, Om Mani Padme Om.
Om Mani Padme Om, filled with love and gratitude and blessings and smiles and joy. And gently, gently come gather together, bring your palms together, our branches together, and rub our leaves. Our green and colorful red leaves. It's autumn coming, I can't believe it. And then gently do a little tap and rub your face and gentle little tap and awaken all of the chi cells and all of the chlorophyll is moving around. And along your branches and our leaves and our trunks and our shoulders and our hearts, and do a little shake, 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 shake our branches, and oh my gosh. Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Jochen. You truly inspired my day.
I thank you all for listening and for giving me this positive feedback.
Yes, and I'm going to
Makes my day and more than that.